for coming. I always like to start. I always tell our players not to not appreciate things like victory meal and those type of things, and I always tell them not appreciate that stadium and their fans. So once again, incredible turnout, incredible noise when we needed it. So I'd like to thank Buckeye Nation. Then also I realized I just heard some stats at the second half, and they only had the ball 7 minutes or something like that.
Correct.
And our offense line really, because that was a heck of a team. I knew going into it it was going to be a physical team. Their defensive line is outstanding, and one of the leading rushing teams in rushing defenses. So our offense, I really was pleased with our performance. We dropped back on first down more than we probably have in one game, more than we have in probably a year and a half. So that's showing that we have much more confidence in our receivers than we ever have, and certainly our quarterback out of practice played really well. Defensively, very disappointed in the first half. Very disappointed. I felt like we were getting pushed around, and I thought in the second half they did a much better job. But once again, you got to give credit. It's a good outfit that we beat in a tough physical game. So best thing about $7 chance to win. Yes,
Far right, Clay.
Coach, congrats. You had 2 rushing TDs today. Can you talk about the run by Hyde where he gets rocked, gathers himself, and then also if you would, the Roby hit, which our guys are calling more incidental than targeting. What was your take?
I thought it was below. Was it? You guys can see it. Was it below the shoulder? Yeah. So I mean, that's my question. I guess I got fined $30,000 one time for going after officials, so I'm not going to do that. Okay? But I'm curious to find out the rule on the replay officials. That's supposed to get all replayed. So I'm gonna open. That's not true. I need an answer. We need an answer for that. Carlos played very well, and it was a wow play from what I heard and saw up on the big screen. So they're kind of feeding off each other right now. That offensive line and Carlos side. Once again, that was a very good rush defense.
Front row left, Bill.
What did you see was the problem on defense? Was it simple getting pushed around? Your defense?
What did I say? Tape? Did you say tape?
No, I said you said they got pushed around. Was there anything
that
you saw?
I don't know. I'll let you know next week. I'm more of the yeller and screamer and let the defensive coaches make the adjustments. What I'm going to point out a guy too. When you lose a Christian Bryant, I keep looking for that next guy. I found him. I think it's number 10, Philly Brown. The emotional guy that's in that locker on the kickoff team, and I mean he was outstanding. I think I'm saying Philly Brown. I want to walk across the street for him last year. Now he was a guy that is an incredible leader, and I mean I just looked at don't let me down, because I mean he was phenomenal today, and it's picking up the slack that Christian Bryant. Because Christian's unique, and the people that devalue and don't understand have never been in the locker room, never been in the huddle, that having that energy source, and so. But to get back to your question, defensively, I thought we'd done such a good job defending the run, and we didn't give up that many yards. We kept 100 and some yards. I thought it was worse than that, but it was headed that way in the first half.
Front row, Bob.
Braxton was talking about feeling healthy and running, and you could tell. And
he was tighter with the ball too.
And Carlos obviously is running really hard and doing it. Is that the kind of complementary play that you need in your offense? And it looks like if you're going to get where you want to go, the offense is going to have to impress everybody with that kind of play.
Yeah, and I think you throw in the fact that once again I think we had more 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1, 2nd and 3s than we've had all year, and that's because we're dropping back on first down and kept throwing hitches and curls and flat routes, and that's what I want. That's what I'm used to when we were really good. So right now we're very balanced. I'd expect our rushing offense to be like that, and I'm even more impressed. 22 of 27, no turnovers in the pass game, and a lot of that was on first down. And you think about a couple misfires, and very good production throwing the ball.
Front row middle, Bill.
The big play they hit. Were you how distressed were you that the pursuit couldn't get to the big guy there?
Very concerned. I mean, these 40 times we were recruiting, I want to find out who's giving us these 40 times. I didn't really see the play. I was working on offense, and I looked up. I guess.
Front row right,
Sonny. Not get caught.
But you mentioned 22 and 27, Braxton's efficiency throwing the ball, but he had a lot of time. Your offensive line did a superb job of protection. Would you talk about that, please?
Yeah, We called all 5 of the guys up. I think Taylor Decker's coming of age. I think I feel good about him. I feel good about the line. And, you know, that's where winning football, certainly offensive football, starts. And they're my favorite players on the team. You know, those 5 guys, that's where you start.
Back row left, Austin.
Urban, on Wednesday, Braxton said that the last couple of games he hadn't felt like his old self. Had you noticed any limited ability with him physically and compared to what he did today?
I just noticed practice. He's looked really good this past week. You know, we were +1 week, so we went pretty hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I can always tell he's feeling good when he's running and carrying out fakes and those type of things. And he's becoming a much better practice player. And obviously, that correlates to production. So I can see it. He looks better. He looks like he feels great.
Back row right, Tim.
Yeah, Urban, 2 things. Number one, I think this is now your 3rd win streak of 20 games or more, which is fairly unique as a coach. What does that mean to you at all? Does it mean anything at all? And what do you think is sort of behind it?
You know, someday I imagine when an old guy sits somewhere and someone will say that's kind of cool, but right now, it's just, it means I've had, be blessed to have a bunch of very good players and a bunch of great coaches, so I didn't even know that. It's interesting.
And the other thing, not deciding to go for it on that 4th and long play near the end of the first half and
That's
stuff.
tough.
What was the thinking there?
Well, you know, we're into the breeze a little bit. That's would have been was a 48-yard field goal or something like that. We had a long field goal into the breeze. Then I started thinking about punting it, and then I just think he was throwing the ball good. Our receivers were catching the ball good, so I decided to take a chance there. And you look at the time left in the half, and I thought we could stop him, which we did. So that's why we did it.
Far left, Doug.
Urban, you had talked about having Dontre Wilson be more than just a novelty. He was out there a little more, you know, he didn't have a game-breaking play or anything, but just when you have guys like that in the game, does it help open anything else up? Does it help
Certainly does.
Jordan Hall and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, certainly number 1 does, because when he goes in, the tendency, you know, that's what we do in the bye week too, is you do that tendency statistical analysis, and it's very heavy that he's involved. And a lot of them were replays where he could have thrown it to Dontre or handing the ball off, so we're going to get him more and more active, because he's working hard after the way we're coaching him. He knows that he's not going to play much unless he learns to be a full-time player.
2 more questions. Far right, Jared.
General question. We're getting to that point in the year where teams start to fall away. Teams get to deal with losses, teams deal with injuries and all that stuff. How much do you preach to your players appreciating the accomplishment, just a basic win, because it gets you one step closer to where you want to go? How much do you emphasize that to them concerning what all goes on?
I try to stay away from that. I want our focus to be one step closer to where we want to go. Where we want to go is to beat Penn State next week, and so our focus on that. And it's, I wish I had our guys living on a desert island with us, because I don't want to hear anything else about them. And let's go get ready to go win the league. And that's twice now we came back from being behind after all season. So, you know, something I want to make sure there's no noise in the system, because for some reason we're not starting as fast as we used to. And, so I'm going to address that real hard tomorrow and then on Monday or Tuesday in practice, because we have to go. Because someday it's not going to turn out that way. So I want to focus on what's important.
Last question, Todd.
You leave here feeling what? I mean, you leave here this game feeling what? You express some concern about the defense.
Oh yeah, no, I leave here. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to go. I learned a lesson in my life. I'm going to enjoy this week. I feel outstanding. I'm going to go hug my players, hug my family, and go to work tomorrow. But tonight, I'm worried about defense. I'm going to enjoy this win. See you.